Hi, my friends. This is Lada from astrolada.com, and I'm here with your weekly horoscope for the second week of January from the 8th till the 14th, 15th, I think, of January. And the big astrological event this week is the superior conjunction of Venus and the Sun. And I want to go a little bit more in depth about it. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to do also quick predictions for each of the 12 signs, how it might affect you, especially if you check it from your ascendant and the sun sign and the moon sign as well. But I first want to explain to you why this is important, what it is astrological and occult meaning, to try to present to you the archetypal energies of this. So stay with me in the first part. Don't just rush immediately to your sign and listen, because what I'm going to explain to you is going to make much more sense when you listen to your prediction after that. So, what is the superior conjunction between Venus and the Sun? Well, this is the halfway cycle of Venus. The cycle of Venus lasts around 18, 19 months, when it's basically from the moment Venus conjoins the Sun, when Venus is between the Earth and the Sun, till the time she comes back again between the Earth and the Sun, they align together. Basically, it's the opposite of this. If this is the Earth, Venus is here where the Sun is supposed to be, and the Sun is there when the cycle starts. And it started for us, the new cycle of Venus, about last April approximately. When the new Venus cycle started, it lasts for about 18 months. And now is the full moon stage of that cycle. Now is the midway part of the cycle, when Venus is on the opposite side. Basically, the Earth is here. They will align again, but this time the Sun is between Venus and the Earth. And the energy is very different than when Venus is closer to the Earth. So now is this period of Venus when she's furthest away from the Earth. It's still from the Earth, it looks like a conjunction, like Venus is with the Sun in the sky. We don't see Venus because the light of the Sun is very bright, so it hides the light of Venus. So we call it a combust Venus. Venus is burned. It does not manifest outwardly, but it does manifest inwardly. When a planet is invisible, you see, it's beyond the Sun. We can't see it. The Sun's glare is too bright for us. Here from the Earth, we can't see it. It's far away from us. It's the furthest possible away. Its light is gone. So it's harder to manifest when Venus is invisible. The material things that Venus rules, and Venus rules so many things. I mean, there are only 7 planets that rule absolutely everything in certain combinations that exist on the Earth. So 1/7 of everything that is on the Earth is ruled by Venus. One of the important things is women, money, material attainments, also luxuries, anything, outer pleasures that we get from the outside world as well. Venus is beauty, Venus is art, is harmony, is relationships, is love, so many things. And anything that is the outer manifestation of Venus, now it's not so visible, yes, because Venus is not visible, but Venus, because the Sun rules our essence, our soul, Venus is joined with the Sun, so now we will internalize those Venusian qualities for the next basically 30-40 days, because Venus will be invisible till around the beginning of February, till the middle of February at some time. And till that time, we have about 30-40 days where we are internalizing all and integrating all Venusian things deeper within our soul, within our heart, if the Sun rules, your deep essence. But maybe it's harder to access the outer manifestations of Venus, whether it's some kind of financial reward, whether it's some kind of, I'm not saying people are not going to be making money at all, but it's just a bit harder. Maybe it's harder to manifest and to see some relationship, where it's going, what it's doing exactly, the material results of that relationship, for example. But you'll be getting amazing insights starting from this week, when Venus joins the Sun, in regards to the internal value, those outer Venusian things that bring into your life. The internal value and the internal meaning and purpose that those things have specifically for you, and how you can contribute to the bigger picture with those things. So what happened is when we started the new Venusian cycles around last April 2017, Venus is then becomes, as we know it, a morning star. Venus is seen to rise before the sun in the morning. And this is very much more masculine Venus. This is Venus in the first part of its cycle, when it starts till now, basically. Venus, when it precedes the sun, it rises, you know, it has this more leadership for it. It rises before the sun. So it's almost like it's more grasping. It takes more things for itself because it has this more masculine energy. Masculine is about, you know, masculine can goes after what it wants, is more spontaneous. So people generally throughout the world, the feelings of people are more extroverted, because Venus rules our feelings, our desires. So we kind of go after what we want more, and usually it brings a lot of new Venusian experiences. It might be new attainments, new pursuits, material, financial pursuits, new relationships, new contracts, new collaborations with people, new emotional experiences, new sensual experiences that we go spontaneously after, that we don't deliberate. So maybe someone appears and you jump into the relationship when Venus is in its first phase, that it started from, that's been going on for the last 9 months approximately, you know, because Venus cycle is about 18, 19 months. So we've been gaining new Venusian experiences while Venus was in its morning star state, in the more extrovert state. And actually this is true even if you're born with Venus morning star throughout your whole life. You know, people basically, when Venus is in the degrees preceding the sun, say if you have your sun in Gemini 5 degrees and Venus is in Taurus at 25 degrees, you know, the sign preceding the sun, it's Venus is a morning star. Or say you have your Venus in Capricorn at 5 degrees and your sun is at 25 degrees. Again, Venus is in the earlier degrees of the sign or of a different sign somehow. And this is Venus morning star. Such people will be more spontaneous in expressing their feelings. They'll be more extrovert in expressing their feelings and going after what they want. They'll be more like, they'll jump. They want something, they jump with 2 feet. They don't think so much about consequences. Initiative more in relationships generally. While the moment now Venus and the sun and the earth align next week, Venus becomes, after that, it will become visible again in around 40 days, and it will become an evening star for almost 9 months again, till next February, till 2018, October, November, when Venus will conclude its cycle of 19 months. So it becomes like the, Venus becomes the evening star. So you see it at night after the sun sets. So Venus follows the sun now. So Venus, from this week onwards, becomes more and more feminine in any of its manifestations, more and more internal, more and more. You'll see over the next 9 months, especially when Venus becomes visible again from February, we'll speak about that, how you become more reasonable with your feelings, how you process. It's a time for processing internally what you've gained, like outer things in your life, new relationship, new contracts, new material possessions, to internalize them, to assess them for the next 9 months, to see how you can use what you've received, masculine phase of Venus, what you've received then and what you attain, to use it for some higher good or for some other purpose in some way. Because it's this phase after the Sun Venus align, the middle of the phase, after that the Venus evening star is equal to the phase of the moon that we know, say if the moon has, you know, also phase, waning moon, when the moon starts decreasing in power, so it starts disseminating and giving away energy. Before that, it was the phase of Venus, like growing moon phase. So like waxing moon, so we get certain things. We don't even have time to process those Venusian experiences that come to our life, whether it's new love, new relationship, something new that comes to you from the outside world, you know. And now you'll be, in the next 9 months, you'll be processing it, trying to make sense of it. And in this phase, like the waning moon of Venus, let's say, the waning phase of Venus, for the next 9 months, you'll be what you can give through that, what you've received before, how you can spread it and give it, the love that you've received, the gains, the gifts and whatever before that you've received. Now you'd want to spread it, just like disseminating moon and waning moon wants to do it. And people born with a Venus evening star, basically Venus Venus is counterclockwise from the sun. If you have Venus morning star in your birth chart, by birth, Venus is clockwise from the sun, follows the sun clockwise. If you have Venus evening star, counterclockwise from the sun. And such people, they're Venus evening star people, and they are very different than Venus morning star people. They're much more strategic in their feelings. They act and they think about their feelings a lot. They try to analyze their feelings much more. It's more feminine, it's more internalized. They try to contribute to the world more rather than to personal pursuits through the qualities of Venus, whether they're artistic, whether they're relationship, diplomatic skills of any sort, so many different things. I try to mention them all. And they try to kind of follow more their mind, because the sun comes before Venus and the sun rules the brain in ancient astrology. So they try to follow their feelings based on traditions, on the mind, on previous experiences, rather than rush into things. Because when Venus is a morning star, and everyone born with Venus morning star, they first do their feelings, they react to their feelings, they follow their feelings, and then, you know, the mind comes after that. From this period on, for everyone in the world, somehow let's say the sun rules the brain, the rational considerations will have more power over Venus. So we'll be more analyzing for 9 months our feelings, more cautious into going into new, not that they will not happen, new relationship, new contracts, new agreements, new business deals will happen. Negotiations will happen, but we'll be filtering them more through our brain, through the sun, because the sun is between Venus and Earth, so to speak. And another thing that is so important is that Venus, as we know, it also becomes burned when it's conjoined the sun. And this influence will continue till the middle of February. Venus will be invisible and combust, because it's beyond there. And in astrology is known as the debilitated, you know, because the outer manifestations don't show, but as I said, it's more spiritual. It's more inner astral in energy. It's more, not so much material, but it's more internalized. It affects the feelings. You can feel strong waves of love and feelings when Venus is there, but it's a more subjective personal experience. Venus is invisible. It doesn't manifest so much outside. You experience it within. So you can expect to have some deep feelings that bubble, that are being processed within you, but it's a very internal process that is happening within you for the next, 30, 40 days when Venus is still invisible. And when it is combust, the sun, the fire of the sun, you sacrifice. When the planet becomes combust, you sacrifice something of that planet into the fire of the sun. So some of us, many of us might have to sacrifice certain aspects of our Venus. What is the sun? The sun is God. The sun is, that's what we do, sacrificial fire. Ancient cultures knew to sacrifice part of your, the fruits of your labor, which is usually Venus, because Venus is everything that we are rewarded with from the internal world, the fruits of our labor as well. That bring us satisfaction. Anything material and outward, is Venusian, because Venus rules, the 5 senses and all those things. And they'll sacrifice part of it in the fire. There'll be purificational ceremonies and sacrificial ceremonies to the sun god, and the sun represents our inner spirit, our soul, basically our higher purpose in life. So there will be the need for some of us, and we'll do it consciously, we'll kind of want to do it ourselves, because the sun has more power, because the sun is the one that burns Venus, and the sun is our free will, let's say, and our soul and our spirit, so to speak, and how we run our kingdom. The sun is the king. So the sun in our horoscope represents how we run our kingdom, and we'll have to make some sacrifices for our kingdom, for our life, for some bigger goal in our life, for some bigger purpose in our life of the Venusian principles. Like ditch all your relationships, throw out your money, burn your money, give it away, you know, sacrifice. It's some small sacrifice. Even the ancients wouldn't go and give all their, you know, all their grapes from the harvest to the sun god. A little portion of it, but something has to be sacrificed there for a higher goal, because the sun represents our higher goal, that service our spiritual evolution, that service our growth as human beings, that service the bigger picture, rather than some selfish desires. So the sun is very idealistic, it's very pure. It purifies through burning other planets. So it's burning Venus. So some of us, generally speaking, might sacrifice certain 40 days starting from this week, will have a feeling that they have to sacrifice certain aspects of relationships that, you know, that are for some bigger goal. You know, it might mean having to spend a few weeks away from a loved one, or having to change how you do your lifestyle in some way, having to revise how you do relationships, agreements, and contracts. You might have to sacrifice certain contract. You might have to let go of certain agreement or promise, which is all things ruled by Venus. You might have to even let go of certain possessions or attachment, at least psychologically, to certain possession, material, something that you consider valuable, beautiful, Venus. Because not for the sake just to lose it. It's not, the sun doesn't take things from us just to lose them, but because it serves a higher goal. Maybe you have to separate from your partner for a little bit because you have to dedicate yourself more to your career, or you can't have time spent so much on relationship, Venus, or socializing, or pleasant social exchanges in the material outer world, which is Venus again, because you are pursuing some higher goal, because you're pursuing some goal of yours that services better the better part of your life, you know. So you see, it doesn't have to be, it's considered malefic, the sun, because it burns, you have to sacrifice, but also the sun purifies. The sun is this higher vibrational energy. It's manifestation of God in our life. It's a symbolism of God. Sorry, the baby's crying again. He's being looked after. And we have thin walls. Hopefully one day I'll have a studio when there is time or ability to afford that. So there is no sound, but it's just the baby cries all the time. It's the babies. Anyway, so basically there will be some kind of a big purification happening over the next 30, 40 days of the lower, more grosser manifestations of Venus. Because, as I said, the sun is this pure fire, pure divine energy that wants to make everything ideal, to make it burn with the high vibration of the ultimate God, because the sun is the ultimate God, or the ultimate spirit, you know. And Venus going on the other side, the superior conjunction that's happening next week, will mean that we are purifying a lot of our Venusian lower instincts. And especially while Venus is in its first phase, the first 9 months of its cycle, it's much more animalistic. It's much more selfish. It can bring us great things in that first phase as well, but it's much more driven by what's in it for me, or how can I just pleasure myself through it. And now all those things we gained, whether it's new talents, new love, new relationships, new contracts, we're asked to refine them through the spirit, through the fire of the sun. To refine them, to burn off the grosser details of it. So maybe you acquired some new artistic style or technique, Venus. And now over the next 30, 40 days, you'll be asked to kind of purify those, to remove certain of them, you know, to internalize it more, to make it your own, because Venus is in the heart of the sun, you know, and to kind of bring it to a higher manifestation, more refined manifestation. Maybe you acquired feelings for someone in the past months. Now you'll be asked to purify, to elevate those feelings to a higher vibration, to make them more pure, rather than selfish, you know. For example, for me, it was in the first part of Venus cycle, before the superior conjunction, when Venus was a morning star, I acquired new love for my baby, and I found out I was pregnant again. So a lot of Venusian experiences, new ones that come, but I haven't integrated those yet. And I've been just going with the intensity of the feelings. And now that it will be a period of reevaluating what it really means for you, for your self-worth, for your self-love as a woman or as a human being, all those new loves or relationships that you encountered in the previous months. And there will be purification of making more refined those feelings, taking them on a deeper soulful level while Venus is invisible, basically. Or it might be another thing. You might have gotten new business partnerships or collaborations with someone, and now Venus aligns with the sun and earth. The sun purifies it, so there might be the need to refine those relationships, to refine those business promises or contracts in a certain way that might need to sacrifice and make some compromises that serve the bigger, greater good, the sun, that serve a higher ideal, that, so there is this refining process going. And also Venus is your values of valuable things of any sort, anything beautiful. Again, we might have to sacrifice such pleasures and indulgences for some higher purpose for a little bit, for some, rather than immediate gratification, we have to postpone through our mind, through our reason, the sun, so we can rededicate our focus to some higher purpose. And actually the whole period after that, when Venus is in its evening state, a star, which continues to October, November 2018, this is when Venus and anything Venusian, we want to contribute through it to others. We give away through it more rather than ask what it is in for me. And whatever talents and skills and love and valuables and new self-worth we've gained in the first phase, we try to, after the sun has purified those new experiences of Venus that come to us in the previous months, we try to and insights, because Venus is also insights of love and connecting and socializing. We internalize them in those next 40-day period while Venus is invisible after this conjunction. And then when Venus becomes visible again till the end of its conclusion phase, till November, you kind of subordinate Venus. So the pleasures, the relationships, the contracts, the feelings, you subordinate it to servicing something higher, something better. It doesn't mean you have to be Mother Teresa and, again, as I said, giving money away or giving for free love advice and stuff like that. But definitely people feel in a much more charitable way towards Venus, and in a much more mature way, in a much more deliberate way, and even new relationships that start or new things, Venusian, that we gain. We do it subservient, again, to not to lower passions, but to something more refined, to something more idealistic, or some goal that will help us fulfill our role of leading our kingdom, basically. Everyone creates their own kingdom in life, so to speak, in the material life. So it kind of infuses a dose of reasonability, so to speak. So I know it's a bit complicated. I hope I didn't make it more complicated to you, but the most important thing to remember is that this alignment will require you, and it's not only this week, because Venus stays invisible in the rays of the sun, as we say, 3-4 weeks after that. So this prediction is for a few weeks ahead, is that there will be some sacrifice for a higher goal, for whatever Venus rules in your horoscope. Sacrifice of those things in your life, but it's not like you're losing something. Maybe on the material level it might seem so, but you are investing in some higher, bigger goal or some higher, bigger vision. There will be refinement. So remember, purification, refinement and purification and sacrifice of some sort. So there will be also and integration. Integration, like making more internal, making your own. As I said, maybe you've acquired a new artistic style or a new fashion style in the last new months, or a new, passion for music or something like that. And now this period, you're going to make it your own. You're going to contribute something of your own spirit towards it, of your own uniqueness, because the sun is the planet that only the sun can create, just like, the sun created the rest of the planets. So this is the only creative planet in astrology, of uniqueness, of originality, that can create something unique and different. So somehow you will make this Venus, whatever you gain, new relationships, your understanding of new relationships, you will purify them, you will refine them, and you will, by the way, it's happening together with Scorpio, it's happening in Capricorn, but conjunct Pluto. Pluto is a powerful planet of deep psychological transformations. So all those Venusian things, they'll be psychologically deeply transformed. Maybe a relationship will be transformed, how you do relationships in a powerful way, because you have some deep inner realizations and understandings that are happening within you for the next few months. And they happen internally. Maybe it's not so visible for others outside, but you feel it. Maybe a big transformation of an artistic style, or a preference for music, for art, for beauty, big transformation of some partnership, business or personal, big transformations of how you regard certain valuables, of how you dispense with your money, how you spend money as well, all things ruled by Venus. So let's see. So remember, purification, it's happening. And whatever Venus rules in your horoscope, you can see this refinement and purification and dedicating it to a higher goal, and somehow trying to integrate it, make it your own, so you can after that give away from this to others, not just keep it for yourself. So for Aries, for example, Venus rules the 7th house of relationships and business partnerships, in the 2nd house of money and resources and self-worth. So there is purification happening, possibly, and transformation through Pluto of relationships. They might be internal, that they start view their relationships in a different way, that they start evaluating them in a different way, that they decide to sacrifice part of a business partnership or personal relationship for a higher goal, that they have to make some compromises because of a higher goal, or because it's just a relationship is not living up to a high ideal, which is the sun, to a high ideal or high vision that they have. They might have to do some sacrifices, letting go. Plus, also something to do with money. They might have to spend money or invest money for some long-term goal of theirs, the sun, that is more for some creative activity, for example, as well. They might have to give in and sacrifice something material, something valuable, because they're following some for some goal, for some career plan, or for something that serves them, or maybe spend on something that serves them in the long term, that improves their kingdom, so to speak, their general, how they run their kingdom, their whole life, so to speak. This is the sun. If you're Taurus, the purification happens on all over your life, because Venus rules the 1st house of Taurus and the 6th house of work as well, and health. So there might be the need to sacrifice certain pleasures when it comes to your health, 6th house, that you have deep realizations if you're Taurus, that you might have to sacrifice something in regards to indulgences or sugar, or, waking up late or not walking enough or something, because to keep the overall health and vitality, the sun, for the greater well-being of your whole life. Or you might have to sacrifice certain aspects of your work that don't follow the bigger inspiration in your life. For example, your work, which is Venus rules the 6th house for Taurus. So work, daily responsibilities and duties, you might have to sacrifice such, or you might have to let go of such, or transform them in some way, so they can serve better your purpose, your higher purpose in life, so to speak, or your higher inspirations and goals. Or Taurus, Venus rules the whole life of Taurus. They might feel like they're being a bit burnt and frustrated now for a few days, for a few weeks, or that they're that internally they're seething a bit more, because Venus rules the whole sign, as I said. their whole life. It rules Taurus, you know, so they might feel they're a little bit more frustrated, but also that they're getting powerful new insights and ideas as to the direction of their life in such a way that they're refining more their purpose, they're refining more. They're, of course, as I said, they might have to sacrifice certain things for a higher goal, to serve a higher purpose, and that they're reorganizing their values and what is meaningful in their life so they can serve a better good, a higher good after that. Is also purification of the body that can be happening in some way. So it can be a great time for fasting. It can be a great time for purifying the body, because Venus rules their body and the sun, you know, burns it and purifies it as well. So you'll have more of ability to do that. If you're a Gemini, Venus rules your 12th house, and Venus rules also your 5th house of love affairs. So let's see, it might be some kind of a transformation, because Venus, you know, Venus Sun conjunction is with Pluto, deep psychological realization and transformation, which allows you to sacrifice because of a higher purpose in your life, or something that serves better your spirit or your overall life, which is the sun, to give up something of your love life. Venus ruled the 5th house. So you might have to sacrifice certain pleasures. The 5th house rules pleasures, hobbies, entertainments of some sort, again, because of a higher goal for a few weeks, because of a higher purpose of some sort. Or you might have to sacrifice certain aspects of your relationship with children, because the 5th house also rules children, to maybe you might not have so much time for your children because you focus on some higher goal or something like that. You also have to integrate and transform and make your own some new experiences that you've had in regards to your love life, in regards to your self-esteem, the 5th house, in regards to matters connected to your children and your creative projects, so they can serve a higher good after that. So when Venus becomes visible again from February, you can take those relationships with your children, with your lovers, and with your creative works to a higher level, basically, to a higher, more refined level that manifests in a more less selfish, in a more giving way, and in a way that is more, how do I say, that serves your higher self better. And also Venus rules your 12th house as Gemini. So you might have to let go of certain secret activities, or you might have to sacrifice certain secret activities, or activities that are self-undermining, like bad habits or addictions of some sort. And the sun helps you purify those, because Venus rules the 12th house, especially secret hidden pleasures of physical, so because Venus is very physical material, and 12th house, something we hide and something that we can be addicted to, or something, you know, that we might, that the sun tries to purify it now. So it's easier to let go of such a thing, or it's easier to make your hidden desires and motivations that make you act almost compulsively, which, because Venus rules the 12th house, it's easier for you to make those serve a higher purpose, your higher purpose, that is better for you, that is better for your goals, to let them go, or to at least to hide them better even. So you can dedicate on and you can purify them, purification of such self-undoing behaviors, or hidden behaviors, or hidden love relationships. You know, and maybe they might be, if you have not officially declared your feelings for someone, this is Venus ruling the 12th house. If you're Gemini, it can mean that now, for the next few weeks as well, that there is a big transformation happening in regards to your feelings to someone you've had feelings for that you haven't declared it, or a private secret relationship that you have that is not publicly declared, or even an affair, which is the 12th house. And the sun wants to purify your understanding of that affair, wants to maybe even make you sacrifice part of that affair for the better good, you know, something like that. Okay, if you're a Cancer, Venus rules your 11th house of friendships and your 4th house of family. So there might be the need to sacrifice time or something in regards to your family or property or land, or in regards to or certain comforts, the fourth house, because of your career, the sun, or because of some higher goal you're pursuing right now. Maybe the affairs of your personal life become hidden. They're not so visible, and they kind of are the affair, and spending more time in your personal life is less likely because you have to sacrifice that time to a bigger goal. Or maybe you want to make subservient your any dealings with family, property, to a higher goal. So your whole family might have to sacrifice something. Say they might have to let go of some time together, or some goal together, or property or whatever. So because you serve a higher, so this becomes subservient to a higher purpose that serves your soul and evolution better, or some goal, might be career goal or something like that, some ideal goal or whatever. And again, don't think this sacrifice is something that is lost. This is something that serves your higher spirit at the end of the day, and the higher, and creating your own kingdom, because only the sun is the most important planet in your horoscope, and only the sun can give us real joy and to make us create the life we envision. So whatever sacrifices we make, when the sun burns the planet, it's there for the higher good of the person, even if we don't see that now. Also, at the 11th house, you might have to sacrifice a friend. I mean, not in a satanic ritual, but certain aspects of friendship, not necessarily a whole friendship, might be certain aspects, or maybe time, social time spent with like-minded people, with groups, with going out with people. 11th house is social life, because you're following some higher goal, some higher purpose of some sort, or you might have to sacrifice some kind of a recognition or title or honor or bonus even, which is the 11th house, because it's serving you higher goal again, or it's serving some higher grounded. Also, there might be refinement of some of your friendships. If you gain new friends, if you gain new additions to your family, fourth house, if you now you're gonna make more, you're gonna internalize it, you can understand what it means for you, how it augments your self-worth, how it enriches your life. So anything connected to fourth house, family, home, and 11th house, social life, material goals that we pursue, plus friends, is being purified, is being made more refined, is being made more in a way that it serves not only you, but it's going to serve a bigger group of people, a bigger goal as well. And that it's, yeah, and there's some transformation very likely happening there, because Pluto is also involved. Might be on your attitudes towards those things in your life, but it's still there. Okay, if you're Leo, I don't know why I'm showing you that, but if you're a Leo ascendant, to a lesser degree sun or moon, Venus rules your 10th house, your worldly achievements, your career, bosses, and Venus also rules your 3rd house. So some things might be purified in regards to your relationships with bosses, with authority figures. It might be frustrated as well, because the sun frustrates Venus, it burns it, but it's purification again. In relationships with siblings, with neighbors, with workmates, teammates, this is the 3rd house people as well. Some of those might have to be sacrificed. For example, you might have to sacrifice certain aspects of your relationships with your neighbors, or your siblings, or your relatives, or your friends, even 3rd house, or your teammates. And it might be, harder to see the results of your actions with such groups of people, or if you're working, say, on some business projects or some commercial activities, the 3rd house. But it's almost like there is, you might have to give up certain aspects of those areas of your life, but again, it will serve a higher goal, and it will serve down the road somehow completing a better, more fulfilling life overall for yourself, because the sun takes precedence basically. And relationships with siblings, neighbors, teammates, workmates, after this period will become more refined, will become more rational, will become a more able to give rather than just serve personal interest, will be able to create something more, how do I say, more stable as well. And the 10th house, of course, your career. You might have to give up certain aspects of your career to reevaluate or to transform certain aspects of your career if you're Leo, and of your social status as well, because this is your social image, is Venus ruled by the 10th house, in such a way that, and transform it in some way that it will serve a higher purpose again, that you might have to transform your career or your goals in regards to your career or your relationships at work and in your vocation in such a way so they serve better the plan of the king. And the king is the inner fire, the inner spirit, basically, that wants to, is your higher self, the sun, that wants to lead you to the best possible place in life and to the best possible manifestation. So some sacrifice and some purification. Maybe if you've gained some new relations, third house, some new teammates, you might be integrating those now. You might be trying to make them more meaningful for you, trying to recontextualize those relationships. Look at those complex words I'm using. If you gain some new knowledge and information and skills, is also the third house for you, Leo. And you might not be able to fully use them now while Venus is invisible, but you're making them your own. Say you learn to play the piano, so you're putting a touch on it to make it more personal. Maybe you learn to use a laptop, or you learn to make videos, or you learn to write articles or something like that, some skill that you have. You might be, again, recontextualizing them, transforming them, making it your own. So after that, it can serve bigger groups of people, and it can be given away, and it can be refined more. If you're Virgo, your 9th house is ruled by Venus, and so is your 2nd house. So money, resources, valuables. You might have, to sacrifice something for a bigger goal, or because of a bigger picture calls for it. You might be refining your attitude towards valuables, resources, and money. You might be, your artistic style is the 2nd house as well, might be getting refined to a more, and if you've gained some new artistic or new aesthetic interests, new aesthetic skills and abilities, these might be getting refined now. These might be becoming more elevated and more personal in such a way that when Venus becomes visible again in 30-40 days, you can use those refined and more internalized aesthetics in a way that contributes to more people, and that services you higher goals than just personal gratification. And of course, 9th house rules beliefs and higher knowledge. If you've acquired some new beliefs or higher knowledge, it might be being recontextualized now. I love this word. Transformed in some way. You might have to sacrifice some older belief systems that are no longer serving you for a higher, for new belief systems, or for transformed belief systems that serve your higher good. Also, the 9th house might be to do something to do with foreign travel, with higher education. You might think that you have to make certain sacrifices in regards to plans to foreign travel, or some legal matters in the 9th house, or matters of higher education, to do some, let's say, sacrifices, but it is, and some transformations there, but it's going to serve your higher good, and it's going to be to refine those areas of your life, so they allow you to create after that a better kingdom for yourself overall in your life. Then if you are, so resources for Virgo, money and beliefs and higher meaning, these are the things that are getting refined, purified, transformed in some way, and made to integrate on a deeper level within. Sorry. Sorry about that. And then if you're a Libra, of course, Venus rules the life of Libra. Venus rules their the 8th house, and Venus also rules, yes, is it the 8th house? Yes, the 8th house and the 1st house. Most importantly, okay, you might have to sacrifice something that is of your own pleasure, so that you think that you really want, and that you think that really defines who you are, the 1st house. But you might have to sacrifice it for something that actually will make you joyful and happy, something that down the line will help you achieve your vision for your life, that will make you achieve the highest potential you have, which is the sun. You have to sacrifice certain things of that. You might have to sacrifice certain physical, how you do physical, something to do with your body, basically, certain physical habits, the 1st house, you know, certain qualities of your character as well, and kind of like swallow some things that, and not do them even though you want to do them, but in the grand scale, this is because it's going to serve a higher purpose again, or some higher goal or career goal of some sort. Also, overall in your whole life, and there is a purification happening for Libras powerfully in their life, and integration of the acquisitions that you've had in the past months, and the new experiences that you've had, that you're making them your own and making them more unique. And of course, Venus for Libra also rules the 8th house, so maybe they might have to be sacrificed of higher for higher purpose, or for a bigger goal, of mutual resources of some sort. There might be like the sun burns away your mutual resources, money that comes to you through others of some sort. But it's again maybe because you're making an investment for the future that is much better off, and it's going to serve your general well-being and general vision of your life much better, rather than immediate gratification through other people's resources now. Or you might have to, you know, other people's resource, not being able to have access, for example, to other people's resources for a little bit, but, or having to consciously deny those for a little bit, so you can, so you can basically again make that subservient and work on some higher goal that is that will make you more your own king, the sun, you know, a king of your own kingdom. There might be also, oh, sorry, they're calling me from the hospital. I hope everything's fine. Anyway, so also we're looking at if you're Scorpio. Scorpio, Venus rules your relationships, plus Venus rules your 12th house. Sorry about that again. Oh my God, I'm starting to get stressed now and worry. But Scorpio, yes. So Scorpio, mostly their relationship. You might have to sacrifice certain aspects of your relationship, because Venus rules the 7th house. You might have to transform certain parts of your relationship. So new relationships that you gain in the past years, in the past months, whether it's personal or business, you might have to recontextualize them, give them a new direction of some sort, integrate them, make them more personal, and burn away the heavier, less savory parts of them. And there is some deep psychological realizations that you're having in regards to that will allow you to, let's say, disperse and allow you to sacrifice the less savory parts of certain relationships or certain promises that you've made that are not serving the higher good of both sides, or at least of your higher good. It also rules Venus, your 12th house, Scorpio, so it means that sacrificing certain in private hidden relationships or indulgences, certain private secrets that you have, because again, to serve a higher good in the long term for you, and that you're refining. And it's actually very powerful spiritual refinement, because the 12th house rule of Venus, it is connected to spirituality, and the sun is the most spiritual planet as well. So it's kind of, It's whatever you're giving up and letting go of. When Venus, the ruler of the 12th house of letting go, is burned, it's really a spiritualizing process for you. And almost like liberating. It wants to liberate you in some sort. Okay, and then there is Sagittarius. For Sagittarius, Venus rules the 6th house of health, and Venus rules the 11th house of friends. So again, repeat 6th and 11th house. There might be the letting go and having to sacrifice, letting go and having to sacrifice something to do with, I don't know how to stop this thing. Why is my laptop connected? Sacrifice, something to do with, because for a higher goal, a higher purpose, some time with friends, or to transform some friendship, or maybe to give up certain indulgences and enjoyments of social life, the 11th house, for a few weeks, because you are trying to focus your energy to a higher goal, something that will service your higher purpose, basically, in the long term. And help you build the kingdom, the vision of your life. Also, you might have to let go of certain unhealthy habits, 6th house, or certain daily routines, whether it's how you eat, or exercise, or the lack of exercise, to give up, to make some sacrifices, to refine your approach to your health, basically, because of the greater good of your overall life, again, to do some sacrifices, some reevaluations in regards to the 6th house, which is health, plus it rules work. You might have to sacrifice work of some sort because of, say, some aspects of your job or of your daily duties and responsibilities are not savory, and because of that you release them. Because of that you're willing now to sacrifice them, or to make to make them subservient to a higher goal of some sort that serves more your higher purpose, the sun, or your higher goal, or your higher vision for yourself. Capricorn, Venus rules your 4th, Venus rules your 5th house of love and relationships, creativity and children, and Venus also rules your 10th house of career. So you might have to consciously sacrifice something in regards to some of your goals, because of another goal that serves your higher good. Maybe something in your career, or something that an authority figure, an institution, or a father figure wants you to do, or demands from you to do, that you have to sacrifice for your higher goals instead, and do it your way instead, which is the sun, in a unique way, rather than take the counsel or what those authority figures are asking from you. Or maybe your career is taking one direction, but you say, oh, I'll have to, because the 10th house is career, but you say, for me, I envision my life in a different way, so I'm going to sacrifice a few weeks of my career, not quitting your job, of course, necessarily, but some of the time that you spend there, in order so I align my life with the higher purpose I have with myself. Or you might have to basically reevaluate and sacrifice certain relationships with authority figures, purify them, make them more refined. Or your career goals, the 10th house, to refine them, purify them, so they serve the higher goal for you. And of course, ruling the 5th house, Venus, for Capricorns, means that their love life is getting refined. If they experience new romantic relationships over the last months, maybe there is a transformation of those relationships, internalizing them, trying to see how they are augmenting your self-worth, how, if they are, and reevaluating how helpful they are in your life, or how meaningful they are, basically, on a deeper level. And whether you need to sacrifice certain aspects of those romantic relationships, or how you approach those romantic relationships, or the whole romantic relationship, because it does not serve your higher good and your goals in life. Or you might have to sacrifice some time with your children, or certain aspects of your relationship with your children, for a few weeks while you're pursuing higher goals, some career goals. The sun rules career as well. The sun rules your what you feel is intrinsically most important in your life, like your higher purpose somehow. And you might have to sacrifice some of your hobbies, some of your pleasures, because again, of serving a higher goal. And you might have to refine certain artistic interests, because fifth house is creativity, sorry, a certain creative artistic interest that again, when Venus becomes visible, will serve not only yourself, but you will serve somehow bigger group, so you can give away of those artistic creative talents in a more refined, higher way. And if you're Aquarius, Venus rules your fourth house of family, and it also rules your ninth house of beliefs. So maybe sacrificing of certain beliefs, letting go of certain beliefs, releasing certain old beliefs, transforming them. And if you've integrated new beliefs, or you've experienced new beliefs, now you're going to go introspective, think about them, try to internalize them, try to make them your own. Try to see how they can serve a higher good, and you might have to sacrifice some older belief system which are no longer serving you and your path in life. So the spiritual process is good for Aquarius, this inner introspection of higher values, morals, ethics. There is releasing of old morals and ethics and welcoming of more refined such ones. So if you welcome new morals and ethics and perceptions of the world, which is the ninth house, the new belief systems, you have to refine those now. And also the fourth house, anything to do with family. You might have to sacrifice some time to do with your family, or certain interests that are connected to your family or to your goals connected to property, place of living, because of some higher purpose. You might not be even know what this higher purpose is, but it might be something to do with, you know, that it ultimately will lead you to build a much better kingdom for yourself, a much better life for yourself. But because of that, for a few weeks, you might have to sacrifice your goals or plans connected to family or private life. And there is also refinement. If there was a new member in your family, like it happened for me, I'm Aquarius ascendant, and now you're going to integrate those feelings, and this till Venus is invisible, you're going to integrate it, you're going to internalize those feelings to understand how this has augmented your self-worth, or how this has changed your self-love, which is Venus internally, how it's affecting you. And if you're Pisces, Venus rules your third house, plus Venus also rules your eighth house. They're kind of not the most important houses, but you might have to as I said, sacrifice, let's say the eighth house is some support, a material, financial that comes to you from outside, from others, or moral support, because, for example, having to serve a higher, because this sacrifice, this burning, this purification of this eighth house of other people's resources, the ruler Venus, will lead you to more personal, in the long term, will lead you to fulfilling your higher goals and the highest good for you, basically, which is the sun. They can be also the burning away of certain, eighth house can rule certain traumas and certain painful experiences from the past that the sun wants to purify and wants to spiritualize and want to remove the dross and the heavier energy of those, because eighth house has a darker side to it, the connotation of pain, of trauma that we've stored psychologically and in our body, and the sun burning the planet that rules your eighth house can actually rarefy that grosser matter connected to the traumas and pains of our subconscious, and you know, of betrayals and things like that, and big reversals in life and big traumas that have happened, and to burn it away, to spiritualize it, so it has one good area here. Or if there was some big reversals in your life that happened, whether it's a divorce, whether it's eighth house rules, all those things, a sudden surprising like change of job, reversal, or death, you know, or pregnancy or birth, you know, these are big shocking events in life that happen, especially the more crisis prone ones. Now you can integrate it, understand its higher meaning, because Venus is being purified by the sun, how it's relevant to your higher self in some way, and hopefully even release it, sacrifice that, you know, integrate that transformation that's been happening. And Venus rules your third house, so any kind of new skills if you've been gaining, new, whether it's artistic, whether it's mechanical, whether it's technical, new skills, any kind of new knowledge and information you've been gaining, you might have to now for the next few weeks, you internalize it, you make it your own, you ruminate deeper on it, and you make it serve a higher goal. After that, when Venus becomes visible, the sun has purified those and made kind of a higher sense of those pieces of information and skills that you have so they can serve for a higher, greater good. Plus, you might have to sacrifice certain aspects of your relationships with teammates, playmates, social time as well, again, to serve a higher goal of some sort of yours. So thank you so much. Sorry for the interruptions of the phone. I'm going to go and see what it is. I hope it's not bad news. But otherwise, have a wonderful week. Very spiritual processes happening with the sun joining Venus. They're more occult. They're more psychologically internal because Pluto is involved there as well. And the results might only start becoming, the psychological results will be felt for you very strongly already next week, but the results, the material, the outer manifestation of those deep integrational processes and purification processes that are happening will become possibly visible when Venus becomes visible as well as a material result of that process. So thank you so much. Check out the new courses. Rumen, Kolev, and I am making a course on the spirit animal, how to find your spirit animal according to astrology, ancient astrology, which is 2,000 years old text that we using. Find your spirit animal. It's only $120. Otherwise, it's $1,200. He offers this lecture privately, but he's offering it just to astrologers, a 7-hour webinar. So check out the link below. Check out the 2018 calendar with all the important astrological events, only $30 that Astrolab is offering. And thank you so much.